Walking into Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, I thought I knew exactly what to expect. After all, we've seen the trailers that gave away too much. The ending was almost spelled out for us. It seems like Dawn of Justice was going to be the safest superhero movie in existence. A movie that takes no risks and exists solely to set up a shared universe, that has a glut of characters appearing here that will all conglomerate into the Justice League and their own solo films. In other words, I expected a half-decent action movie with a huge cast, a simple plot, and for it to effectively advertise a bunch of other movies. I expected the resolution to be simple, yet somewhat effective. I expected a lot. What I got, however, was almost the exact opposite of all that. Firstly, I have to get a few things out of the way. The first is that I'm aware of the reviews of this film that it's been getting so far. The consensus from critics can best be described as mixed. However, I came away knowing that this film is completely critic-proof. People will see it. They'll probably see it more than once. It'll be talked about quite a lot. It's almost like the Transformers movies. No matter how viciously the critics attack them, each one's a success. There's a reason people come back for more each time, and it is completely divorced from critical disdain. Secondly, tackling the idea of the extremely large cast, this was a genuine concern for me. I mean, Batman and Superman, of course, they're in the title. We heard about Wonder Woman, that she was going to be it. Okay, I accepted that. Then we start seeing casting announcements for Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman, and, we all wondered, is this the Justice League movie? Well, I can tell you that aside from Wonder Woman, those characters appear for a few seconds each. Addressing the idea that this would be a safe movie, I couldn't have been more wrong. I think that 2016 may be the year that superhero movies grew some balls. And it makes sense. They've been around long enough that doing the same thing could come off as stale. We want them to be familiar, but we want the genre to evolve. We want the genre to branch out. We want the genre to take risks. I'm going to give you an example. Avengers Age of Ultron, it did none of those things. And what we got out of it was a blandly good film. Something that was above average, but no better. Ant-Man, Deadpool, those films took risks. They took different approaches to the same old ideas, and I enjoyed both of them immensely. Dawn of Justice has some moments that are outright shocking, a few legitimately intriguing nightmare scenarios, and a plot that can be both complex and still can be summed up simply. Essentially, this is the film where Lex Luthor plays puppeteer to all the other characters, and even after they see the strings, they're still forced to dance to his tune. Eisenberg's casting is pretty much a stroke of genius. I'm not sure that anyone else could have pulled it off. I mean, we've seen Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, we've seen Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, and I enjoyed them both, but this particular version of Lex Luthor isn't a real estate mogul. He's a depraved maniac with too much money and power who feels threatened by the very existence of something stronger than him. He's ruthless, he's cunning, he values nobody but himself. Ben Affleck as Batman was great, perhaps the best Batman yet, although I think he needs more time as the character to earn the best Batman title. He's equally effective as Bruce Wayne as he is as Batman. As Bruce Wayne, he's affable and charming, like you would expect a rich playboy to be. As Batman, he's intimidating, as Batman should be. He's haunted to a certain extent, but he doesn't brood, he's pragmatic, and he only loses his cool once in the entire movie. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, she doesn't have a lot of screen time, but she comes off as exotic and intriguing. She shows that she may be the smartest of the three and is easily the most skilled warrior of the three. Superman, well, those of you who criticize Man of Steel for its destruction should know how this movie treats it. The entire movie is almost an indictment of not only Superman's character as he is, but the very idea of Superman. We see the events of Man of Steel from a totally different perspective, and throughout the whole movie, Superman is seen from a variety of views. And yes, some of them are tainted by Lex Luthor's careful manipulation, but others are born out of a real fear of what he may do if he lost control. Lastly, I want to address the ending. I won't give out spoilers, but I have to say it definitely completely changed how I think about the DC Extended Universe going out. When I get to my score at the end of the review, know that 1 extra point was given for the absolutely surprising and definitely daring ending. So how's the film? Well, to be fair, I think Man of Steel was better. That's not to say that this film is bad, but it has some pretty severe pacing issues. There's not a single scene that is bad. They're all wonderfully crafted, beautiful to look at, but sometimes the movie drags. It's long at 151 minutes, and there's tell that we're going to get an even longer version on streaming and home video, and while I'm intrigued to see what they cut, I'm more intrigued to see what they kept. Dawn of Justice wins big on action, characterization, and especially acting, but it loses on pacing big time. It has one crippling flaw and almost would work better in the setting of watching at home. Some movies deserve to be seen in the theater, but some actually work better in the living room. Dawn of Justice is a living room movie. It's the kind of movie you want to pause halfway through, take a break from, get some food, talk about the plot with your friends or your family, and then go back to it refreshed. It really is like two films, and maybe they should have kept the much longer version and released it piecemeal, like they plan on doing with Justice League and Avengers Infinity War, and we've seen it done in the past, like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows or Kill Bill. That being said, I told you in the beginning, this film is critic-proof. People can clamor on and on about how it has a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, meaning less than a third of the critics gave it a favorable review, and on Metacritic, it has an aggregate score of 44, generally below average. My experience in the theater, when the credits rolled, everyone clapped. I can probably name about maybe 7 or 8 other movies that I've seen in the theater that ended with applause. And the only other superhero movies I can think of that did that were The Dark Knight, Captain America Civil War, and Deadpool. There are those who will like Dawn of Justice no matter what, and there are those who will dislike it no matter what, but put me in the liked it category. I didn't love it. This isn't a movie to be loved, it's a movie to be enjoyed. That being said, I had a pretty firm idea of 7 out of 10 planted in my mind going towards the end of the film, until the closing few minutes of the film, which I won't discuss here because it would be a huge spoiler, but I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.